Oh yeah, I saw this. I don't keep like a very thorough internal archive of everything everyone who's ever fallen off has done. I never watched Grade A Under A. Not my generation, sorry. Not my age demographic. Oh, people call everything racist nowadays. Is that anything like? I don't remember. Is that anything like it? Was that like a little bit? Kinda? I'm literally like constructing this from first principles. I used a random meme character I found in a thumbnail and it's causing uproar, so I'll change it, I guess. Don't see how it's racist myself, but I have to be careful with people nowadays, so I'll change it. Shame. Anyway, video today, tomorrow. That's the closest I'm sorry, I'm literally, like, I don't know what he said. I just remember, like, that it sounds stupid. I don't... That's my best... Now you got it? Okay, okay. So anyway, here's the thumbnail. Isn't it crazy how the people who, like, grift to the right wing are always the ones who claim to not know that the shit they're doing is racist? You'd like there's like a concurrent line, and one is a person being right wing, and two is a person not knowing that what they're doing is right wing. People used to see it as a harmless joke, but people look for outrage now. How was I supposed to know the swastika is a hate symbol? Yeah, exactly. Where's the... I saw a meme response to this. I don't want to scroll through because anything could be in the images. It was the screenshot of the YouTube comments, and somebody said, you know, somebody posted something and they had the swastika as their profile picture, and someone responded and said, bro, why is your PFP the swastika? And the person responded, they said, yeah, it goes hard. Something like that. You got a week out of me. Wait until the dono times. You goddamn greedy, selfless people who you self-centered charity doing volunteers who want to make the country better or something. Vashi's of Pakistani descent. Be careful not to do a racist impression. Are you kidding me? Right? I'm not even dignifying this. I do think it's indicative of, like, I mean, the anti-Semitism thumbnail, the happy merchant thumbnail. I do think it's indicative of, like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. My impression of Grade A Under A is that he's genuinely stupid. Like, he's in the Sargon of Akkad territory where, like, maybe he lies to front an agenda, but he also genuinely seems, like, low IQ, like, low functioning, at least when it comes to like analysis politically. That's the impression I've gotten. Like, even the way he types here, like, it just betrays it suggests like a very, very low level of self-understanding. And I feel like it's very indicative, and this reminds me a lot of how Gamergate was. So many people got radicalized to the right largely through being too stupid to understand they were being radicalized to the right. Like, I believe Grade A Under A is anti-Semitic, but I also believe he thought this was no big deal. Like, I actually believe both of those. I actually don't think he's lying here. Does that make sense? I think, because I remember being in this mind state where, God, it must have been like, I must have been in like high school or something. But Seth Chinch, who I think was for a time far right. I don't know if he is anymore. I genuinely don't know. I don't want to like make offhand comments. Like, that might have been like 8 years ago. You know, so if he's not anymore, like, then what is my issue with, right? But like, I know for a time Seth Chinch was like considered right wing, and back when he made League of Legends like compilation videos, he would do, I remember there was a video where he had like a Jewish guy like rubbing his hands when you buy something from the item shop. Maybe you even remember the video. I think it was the... who's the guy in League where when you ult, you hit every enemy in the map? You channel, and then you do the nuke on everyone? You're like a... Karthus? It's Karthus? Yeah, I think it was like... He was buying like the wizard hat from the shop, and there was like a Jewish guy rubbing his hands. And the video wasn't like political. It was just, oh, haha, get it. Like, they're fleecing you for the money. You know how a lot of people in America casually say they got gypped when they when they like feel like they got ripped off, and that directly refers to like gypsy, like Romani people, and a lot of Americans don't realize that they're doing a racial slur. No one says that. It's not as common now, but I swear to God, that shit was incredibly common back like 10, 15, 20 years ago. All the time. Because in America, there are basically like no Romani people in America, or at the very least, there's no like knowledge of Romani people here in America. Like, we don't think about them. So the word, yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, like, it's people don't think about it. It's not that people are being like racist when they say it. They legitimately don't know. They have no idea. No one in America is thinking like, oh yeah, like those Romani people. That's it. It's literally like not. Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of people who have no idea. And there was a point in my life when I was growing up. I grew up all around Jews. I grew up in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is full of Persian Jews who left Iran after the Iranian Revolution. The Ayatollah took over, right? And they became an Islamist regime. So a lot of the Jewish Iranians left, and they call themselves Persians to distance themselves from the current Iranian regime, you know? So I grew up all around Jews. So hearing people make Jewish jokes, to me, that was like a daily thing, because Jewish people make jokes about Jewish people, obviously, right? Like, constantly. Much in the same way that if you're a white guy and you grow up in like a very black neighborhood, you're probably going to hear a lot of jokes about black people from black people, which are different, mind you, from the jokes that white people make about black people on average. You know what I mean? But you get used to it. So I watch a funny YouTube video where the joke is like, like a Jewish guy sold you the 3,600 gold item in the League of Legends shop. And it's like, okay, I don't think about it. And I think a lot of people are like that to an extent. I don't think you can be like that anymore, is what I'm saying. When I thought that, I was like 15 and I didn't follow politics. And it was like the Obama administration, and there was like an era of relative quiet. People weren't as engaged with this. Nowadays, neo-Nazism is borderline mainstream. You can't do that anymore. You can no longer be clueless. So if GradeAUnderA is genuinely clueless enough that he doesn't think this is anti-Semitic, it betrays so either dishonesty or like a profoundly low IQ. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Oh, you can't do the old race jokes anymore because of woke. Yeah. Either way, bro, stupid. Yeah. I think you're just describing growing up, Vosh. Wow, I'm describing a thing? That's wild. Vosh, I've heard a Southerner dude say don't be a Jew about it when someone wanted the money he borrowed back. There are, and okay, I know I'm like inviting scrutiny when I say this. There are people who say stuff like that who don't think about it. I think that there's a pretty big divide between like a person who's saying it with like conscious racial hatred, a person who's saying it knowing that it's problematic but still like doing a joke, and then a person who's saying it with no knowledge of where that's coming from. I don't think you can make Jewish jokes in America, where Jewish people are pretty well culturally integrated, without knowing that you're at least invoking Jewish people. You can't make it like completely unknowingly, the way you can about like saying gypped. But, you know, there's like a varying spectrum, and it's getting harder and harder to fall on the charitable side of that spectrum, just because, again, Nazism is getting pretty mainstream. So it's getting really, really, really difficult to like believe anyone could not know what's being talked about, you know? Yeah, I agree, Vermin. I mean, everyone gets defensive, I think, when they're told like, oh, you're being problematic or whatever, but there are varying levels of, you know, I don't know. It's hard to tell. You know, who's being dishonest, who's stupid. It's the right wing. Maybe it's all of it, you know? Maybe it's both. You get me. The USA has about 1 million Romani. I don't know if you're trying to, like, be contrarian. I said, in America, we don't talk about Romani people. Like, they're not a part of the cultural discourse. Like, there are presumably, like, Armenian people in America. I don't know the exact number. But in America, we don't have, like, a cultural dialogue about Armenian people. We don't think about them. In America, for the most part, we don't actually think about ethnicity that much. We tend to just think about race, you know? Ethnic divides and tensions are a lot more common over in Europe, where you have like 50,000 countries within 1 square mile. Over here in America, it's like the country's huge. We pretty much just think of people in racial groups, you know, which is why we don't really distinguish that much between Venezuelan, Colombian, Brazilian, you know, Mexican people when they come up from the southern border. I'm pretty sure most Republicans think that Haiti is in Africa. You know, we don't engage with it much. We sniff Ukrainians from a mile away. No, we don't. The average American could live. That's completely incorrect. The average American could absolutely not distinguish a Ukrainian from any nation that borders Ukraine. Like, not even close. Not even remotely. No chance. We have the Kardashians and no one mentions their Armenian ethnicity as a fact about them. I mean, that's kind of true, right? Like, I think when most people talk about the Kardashians, they just think of them as like, oh, they're kind of like, you know, swarthy, or they're like brown, you know, they're kind of like golden skinned. They don't really. I mean, I certainly don't see people talking about like Armenian heritage or like. I don't see the popularity of the Kardashians being used as a springboard to talk about Armenia. Their money makes them white to an extent. Yeah, yeah. To an extent, there is an element to that. Grade A Under A used that image before and got backlash for it, so he knows. From 7 months ago? That's so recent. I'm not watching this. Wait, you're not just giving me a... Are you kidding? I'm not watching a Grade A Under A. I should have known from you, Garrett Main. Good lord.